Good morning, everyone. I've gone into a quiet place in my house because we've got a lot of tree trimming going on out on the side of our house. Our neighbors are getting their tree trimmed up, and so I wanted to make this video, and then all that noise was going on, so I have escaped into a quiet room of my house, far away from my children and everything else. So many of you are aware that I got the 1958 yesterday. It arrived. It's a beautiful, beautiful machine, but I wanted to discuss a little bit of packaging issues, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the frustrations that kind of go into when shopping for the featherweights and things that can happen, and again, other things that have to go into the machine that, once again, kind of reflect the prices of them. So this machine arrived yesterday, and when I went to pull it out of the box, literally in my hand, this fell off. And if you haven't guessed already, this actually goes to the bobbin winder. So if you look at the machine now, the bobbin winder is correct. What I've discovered, and me and Steven were talking about this, is that this bobbin winder is actually made out of the Bakelite, same material. So when I say made out of the Bakelite, it's made out of the plastic that the Bakelites were also originally made out of. It's not as strong. So any form, possibly just through shipment, could have resulted in this. The machine itself was bubble wrapped. It did have bubble wrapping on it, but as I'm going to show you here in a second, the type of case that it had. So this was one thing that came. So it came out of the box and it literally broke off in my hand. The other issue that we ended up happening is, if you look over here, the screw, which was not tightly on there at all, has basically it's broken off, and there is no place to screw it. So that's the motor cap screw. So now the motor cap screw was broken off, and I contacted the person that I had bought it from, and she asked for pictures, and I sent her pictures, and lo and behold, I have not heard anything back from her. So that's a little nerve-wracking, and things like this happen. When looking at these cases, this is known as the Type 3 case. So as you can see, rather than a tray that sits on top of the case, you have this little plastic box at the side. So when your machine fits down inside this case, there literally is nothing that is going to hold it at the top. So it looks like this. The spool pin wasn't removed, and I've learned the hard way with shipping on the spool pin that you should remove this. And so I'm surprised that the spool pin is intact. So even with it being bubble wrapped in here, it still can move around. It's not tightly secured down into this box. It's still going to have the ability to move around. So when shipping these, when you have this type of case, you're going to want to put other things such as some cardboard, excessive bubble wrap to the side. So even though you've wrapped the machine, you want to put things at the side. The other thing with this machine I noticed is that when it was sitting, it's crooked. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but it is crooked. The feet are also going to need to be replaced on that. So the feet are really bad. So there's a lot of things that kind of go into when you purchase a machine. I think what's happening is people are getting a hold of these featherweights, and they're slapping a high price tag on them, thinking that that's what they can get on there. And then you get it home, and you've got more issues to deal with that aren't necessarily maintenance. There are some things that are just kind of a given. You're going to have to buy oil, and you're going to have to buy grease to use these machines. Extra attachments, that's kind of a given. A new cord, you know, that's kind of a given too, but then there's just some of these other little things that, you know, someone could easily replace, especially if they're going to ask, you know, top dollar out of it. So this machine actually cost me a little bit more. I went over budget when shopping for it. There are not that many 58s out there. So this one will reflect that in price, and now that I'm seeming to not be able to get these issues resolved and having to put more into it, I'm really upset about that. Really trying to keep everything as original as possible, so when it arrived like that, I was really upset. I don't like it when these machines get broken. Definitely don't like having to spend the hassle of trying to find the parts and wait on the parts, and even though we're not ready to, you know, dive into this machine at this present moment, it's still rather frustrating. So hopefully, and positive vibes sent my way, I will be able to get this worked out with the seller, but who knows at this point. So hope all of you have a wonderful and blessed holiday.